Hi and welcome to Polly Puts Colour On. In this video I'm going to be continuing and hopefully getting finished the page that I started on a live stream in Fairy Tales by Emelie Lidehäll Öberg. So what I got on my stream, which I will link down below in case you wanted to see how I completed this bit so far. All I've done so far is an inktense base, and I'm using a colour palette out of this wonderful book here. Now, I'm not too sure about including the red yet, although I am wondering whether to make her a redhead, although I don't think it'll be quite this red hair. So far I've got the greens, went for a slightly brighter yellow, and then in the flowers I'm working on the bubblegum pink, the hot plum, and then the orange there. So what I was going to do first of all was finish getting based kind of everything with Inktense, and then I'll come in and add a bit of probably Prismacolors on top for a bit of shading, especially here on the dress where I'm guessing I was a little bit impatient. Some of the yellows obviously gone into the blue and it's made little green patches, but that'll be easy enough to tidy up with pencil. So I won't show you absolutely everything, because once you've seen me do a couple of bits, it'll be the same kind of repeated throughout. So it'll be kind of little clips put together so that you can kind of see and get an idea of how I finished this page. But some people on my stream said that it would be nice to see the rest of the page finished kind of, you know, in a video. So, you know, obviously always want to do what people are wanting to watch. So let's get into it. So far, and these are the pencils that I've used. So for the skin, it's the only bit that I've done that isn't Inktense. So I used one of my Swiss colour pencils there, which giving me a really nice light skin tone. Then for the greens, I've gone for lime green and vivid green. Some I've just done in one colour, and then you can see there, added both greens onto that leaf. So I'm keeping them to one side because I think I've spotted all the green, you know, kind of all the leaves and the stems, but there's bound to be something that I've missed. So for the main part of her dress, I used Malibu. I can get the camera to focus. There we are, Malibu, which is slightly lighter, brighter blue. Then for these bits here, the slightly darker bits, I used dark aquamarine. Take my hand out of the way. Oh, camera does not want to focus. Anyway, dark aquamarine, you can take my word for it. That was the darker bits there. Then the yellow that I've used for the lemons, and I might well use for the centre of some of the flowers, was the sun yellow. Really doesn't want to focus. There we go. And then I've got orange sorbet. Wait, well, that's working better. Fuchsia and pink flamingo. So I'm going to go in and just use just these three colours, and I'll base and then activate all of the flowers. So in case you didn't catch my live stream and you're not sure how I work kind of with Inktense, I'll just do kind of one a bit more on camera, then I'll go away, finish basing the rest, and then bring you back in to show you what I've done. So as you see, I've tried to stick with, if the flowers look similar, I've tried to stick with them being kind of the same colour. And then how I finished it on my live stream is I did that one as my last one, which we decided looks a bit like a peony. So I'm going to go in and do the other larger flowers in this lovely fuchsia colour. And kind of for the centre parts, I'm not going to worry too much on some of them, depending on how fiddly they are. I'll just completely go over with them with the Inktense, and then I can fix that with some kind of acrylic markers or gel pens afterwards. Because, you know, Inktense are great. I activate them with a water brush, but it's still, you can't, or at least I can't do anything that's too fiddly, because I just end up with it going everywhere. So great thing is with the Inktense, you don't need a whole lot of pencil going down on the page for starters, because they are incredibly pigmented. So you can see I'm only doing a bit of a light layer, trying to keep it a little bit darker in the centre, going a little bit lighter towards the outside. And then that's that one kind of based, and I'll do some of these inner petals as well. I say not too sure what I'll do for these bits, so I'll leave them for now. And I say it'll probably be acrylic markers or some gel pens or something in that bit. So I think that'll be enough pencil on that one. So the water brush that I'm using at the minute, you see it's quite old, or the writing's pretty much worn off. It's an Arteza one, it's a push button one. I've had the Derwent ones in the past, they're really good. I just managed to find a nice big pack of these on eBay, brand new. You know, they've not been opened or anything, which is the only reason really why I've got these Arteza ones at the moment. But they do work really well. So when you see me going off camera, that's just where I'm dabbing off kind of the excess water and the excess pigment, just to try and have some control kind of over where it's going, and to try and keep the darker bits where I want them. So yeah, I'll do a little bit of this one. Probably won't activate it all on camera because you can see it's really nice and quick. And the good thing is with the Inktense is once they're activated, they are permanent, which can be good because then you know that you can go in on top with other mediums and you haven't got to worry. But then also there is the pressure of if you go a bit wrong, like it's on the paper, you can obviously cover it, but it's not like with watercolor pencils where you could just go in and reactivate them and, you know, lighten the color up quite easily. Once this is on the paper, it's on the paper and it's, you know, it is on there. But they are lovely and vibrant, and like you've seen, you don't need a huge amount of pencil on the paper to get a huge amount of pigment coming off. So I'll pause the video there, and I'm going to go finish activating this one, and then I'll come in and base all the rest of the flowers as well. So be a few minutes for me, but no time at all for you. So as you can see, I've now got all the flowers based. I have used the yellow that I used for the lemons in the centre of some of the flowers, not all of them. I'll do the rest with kind of gel pens, but I thought it'd be nice to have a bit more of the yellow dotted through the page, just to make the page look a bit more balanced. And I've had a little think for what to do for the hair, because I don't want to just do the hair with pencil. I do want to have a nice base on there to speed things up. So I've decided to embrace the red that's on the colour palette, and I'm going to go for the chili red. If it comes out a bit too red, I can either embrace it or try and tone it down a bit with pencils, but it's not particularly realistic, you know, illustration. So I figure I can get away with it being a bit of a bolder hair colour than perhaps I normally would. And now you can see I'm trying to make some bits darker, some bits lighter, trying to follow kind of the chunks. So it kind of looks, although there is a separate kind of sections, there is also kind of bigger bits, isn't there, that's kind of flowing together in like a big curve or a big wave. So I'm going to try and emphasize the shape a little bit by making some bits a bit darker, some bits a bit lighter. So I don't always keep my Inktense pencils all that sharp, because with you only needing a bit of a rough layer, I try and avoid sharpening them too much so that I'm not wasting my pencils. Obviously with a lot of brands you do need a nice sharp point to be able to, you know, do what you need into when you're colouring with pencil, but because these activate so nicely so long as you can get the pencil down, it doesn't matter about being super neat. So you can get away with not sharpening your Inktense pencils quite as much. So I've had these quite a while. I've used them quite a bit, but I've not had to replace any of them at all yet. And that is definitely one reason why, is because I don't sharpen them unless I really need to. So I have sharpened this a bit just to make sure that I can stick to the lines a bit better. But like with the flowers, I wasn't too worried about getting any shading down, so I didn't worry too much about sharpening them. There we go. And then I'll just add a bit here. So again, I'll only activate a little bit of it on camera, and then go away, finish the rest off. So this video is not too long. So there you see, super quick rough base, but because these activate so nicely, I've also had to go and fill my water brush up. So it is quite a red, but that's in the colour palette, and I'm just gonna embrace it. So I'm gonna try and activate in the different sections, cleaning my brush off. Now I know you are meant to go and start on the lighter bit to work towards the darker, but I find for me, I go better if I start in the darker bit, work towards the lighter, and just make sure that I'm cleaning my brush off. I know I should do it the other way, and I know the theory, and I've seen plenty of videos where people are talking through it doing that way, but for me, this is what works. So I'll activate just this bit, and then there you can see. So I'm trying to keep a little bit that'll be a bit of a highlight, and then I can deepen that up with pencil after. So I'll go away and get the rest activated. Also realised I should have coloured her eyebrows, so I'll get that sorted as well and be back soon. So as you can see, I've got her hair finished and her eyebrows now. I'm not going to probably do any shading on the actual flowers. I think what I'll do is that'll just be gel pen details on them. I'll probably use an acrylic marker for the bits of the floor, the background behind. For her earring and the crown, I will come up with something sparkly for them. I maybe will do a little bit of shading on these bigger leaves, but for this, basically for all this bit, I'm probably not really going to do any shading. Might do a tad on some of the flowers, but mainly it's just going to be gel pen detail, I think, really on the flowers. But I will come in and do some pencil shading on the lady. As you can see, the paper, as much as it hasn't gone through, it is rather curly. But I know once this page is finished, I can, shut the book. I'll put some heavier books on top, and it'll flatten out in no time. I've never tried ironing my pages because I think I'd be worried about, making them really wrong, accidentally burning them, making the crinkles worse or whatever. That's what I tend to do. I just tend to shut them up, put something heavy on and leave them for a bit, and that kind of helps enough. So for her dress, I thought I especially do need to add some shading just to bring a bit of depth in, but also to sort out these little areas where it's gone a bit more green. So I've got one of my Prismacolors, and I'm going to use the non-photo blue. So all I'm going to do is start with a dark pressure on one side and then lighten up, and that's it. So if I do a couple of sections, you can see just how quick and easy it is just to deepen it up a little bit. But I'm not worrying about it being like completely smooth. I'm kind of trying to embrace kind of it's not exactly watercolor finish, is it, but that kind of a feel to the page. And so long as it's got rid of the green bits, That's all that I'm really bothered about. So you can see there what a difference it's made on that bit compared to the rest. And I will bring in a slightly darker blue as well, just for right along the very edges, just to really add that depth. So I'm going to come in with probably my Indian Throne blue. I think I'm saying that right. When I can find it, here it is. So Indian Throne blue does need sharpening, just to make sure that I've got a really fine point. If I'm at my desk, I do tend to use my Dial 133. They work really well both on, you know, the slightly larger inktense pencils, but also all my other brands as well. It's a brilliant sharpener. So I'm just going to add just the tiniest little bit, just right on the line, and then I'll come back in with my slightly lighter blue, just so that it's not quite so harsh. And I had already done this section as well, hadn't I? So I'll do a little bit there too, and again just go back over a bit, just so that it blends in. So you can see that it's really just deepened it up a little bit. So I'll go away and finish all the blue on the dress, and then we'll sort out something for the lemons. So I have finished the dress. As you see, you can still see the texture of the paper. It's not completely smooth. I did go in and deepen up the band and kind of the strap part of a dress. Again, I still just use the same two blues, the non-photo blue and the Indian Throne blue, and just did more of the Indian Throne blue and then blended it out with the non-photo blue. I love that with the Prismacolors. They're just so smushable, aren't they? So yeah, I left some of the texture of the paper showing and some of the Inktense showing here, because I think it kind of adds to the feel of the fabric. I'm not worried about it looking perfect. I'm having fun. That's the main thing. Now I do need to go in and do something with the lemons, but while I was looking through my pencils, I spotted a really, what I'm hoping will be a really nice colour for using for the shading on the hair, which is the raspberry colour. So I'm going to, I'll do a little bit on camera and then finish it off camera. So again, I'm just going to do dark a bit in some bits and then lighten up. I'm not worried about keeping the individual kind of strands of hair. I'm just kind of doing it as a big block, and then it'll just mean it'll help to partly deepen up parts, but then also it will help to just smooth it out a little bit. But I'm not worried about it like looking as if it's actually the texture of hair, because, you know, it's not draw realistic. I don't worry about colouring them realistically. Don't get me wrong, if that's what you like doing, then that's amazing. That's a great thing about colouring, isn't it? That everybody can do their own thing. Get some really cool looking pages, but we can all approach things really differently. So there you can see the difference between the bit that's had a bit of shading and the bit that hasn't. So I'll go away and get the hair finished and pick out a colour for the lemons. So I've got the hair finished and I've picked out the Sunburst Yellow, and again I'll just do a couple of the lemons. So you can see this is a bit more of an orangey shade. So especially on the lemons like this one that's gone a little bit more green, I'll obviously add a bit more pencil, but on some of them I won't need to worry too much. I can just add a little bit just to make them look a little bit more interesting. So I'll go away and get those finished and be back. So as you see, I've finished all the lemons now. Again, just a quick little bit of shading, same for all the others as I showed you for the first few, but I do like how that dress is looking now. So I've picked out a green just to shade these larger leaves, but I'm not going to worry about the other ones because they're not particularly prominent in the design, so I don't want to spend too long on them. So I've picked out lime peel, and I'm just going to do just a little bit of shading, like literally just a quick little bit, partly just so that they're not so super vibrant, because I do really like the green that I picked for the leaves, but I think it's just a bit too bright, and I want them, you know, they're in the background, I want them to feel like they're in the background and not be so super bright. So again, just super quick little light layer, a little bit darker down the centers, but that's it. And you can see there the difference between putting the tiny little bit of shading on these two leaves as compared to the others, what a difference it's made. So I'll go away and finish the rest of these leaves. So as you can see, I've done a tiny little bit more, got those leaves finished. I've also picked out a colour for her lips. I'm thinking I wanted to look as if she's got like a really red glossy like lipstick or lip gloss on. So I've got one of the Sakura glaze. It's the one that's code 822. And I think when you look up the names online, it's called Real Red. So I'm thinking or hoping it will be a nice little pop of gloss, a nice little pop of colour. And what I might do as well while I'm at it is I will bring in that colour for kind of the gems on her crown, just so that that colour is in there a little bit more. And then for the actual crown, I think I'm going to use my Uniball Signo. Did debate using a watercolour paint, but I'm thinking this will get a nicer finish because then I won't lose all of the line art. I won't have to draw those details back in because I know me, I won't be able to keep my watercolours nice and neat in these little sections. I'd have to draw the lines back in, and obviously that's can be a little bit fiddly. I don't mind doing it sometimes, but I'm not fancying it today. And I'll also do her earring in the same, to touch her lipstick up. There we go. So let me get that on again, just to touch up her lips where I've just stuck my big hand in it. So that's a nice little bit of bling on. I'm not going to add her any eyeshadow on. I will do a tiny little bit of shading on her skin, but not very much at all, because partly I feel like it's got enough there. I don't want her looking super realistic, and also I'm just not very confident at doing people, if I'm being honest. So I'm going to come in with perhaps the Deco Peach. I'll just do the teeniest, tiniest little bit of shading. Obviously trying to be careful of where I've just got gel pen down. So I'm just going to add just the tiniest little bit, not very much at all. So like I say, I'm not very confident at people. Like I could add her some blush and things, but I don't think it really needs it. Her hair stands out. That's kind of the look I was aiming for. So I'm just going to come in a little bit on her face where it would maybe have a bit more shadow. And then, excuse me, I'll have to turn the book to make sure that I don't put my hand in the gel pen. So I'm going to add just a quick little bit. As you can see, I'm just being super, super light Working really quickly. Just putting the tiniest little bit of pencil down. And I think that'll do for her. I think if I do too much more, I'll just add a tiny bit on her eyes. But that, yeah, that'll do for the actual lady. So I'll go away and I'll pick out some gel pens, some acrylic markers and things to do the details on the flowers. So as you can see, I've been scribbling out, try some different acrylic markers, because these ones, they don't have numbers or anything. When I'm using them, they're in cheap ones. I've got them bundled up in kind of colour families. So when I do want to use them, I just pick them out, scribble them on a bit of paper till I find one that I'm wanting to use. In the long term, it probably would be quicker just to actually swatch them, but I can't really be bothered because I'd have to stick numbers on them as well. I think if they'd already got numbers on, then I probably would do that, get them swatched. But yeah, a bit lazy. Just tend to just scribble them when I need them on a scrap bit of paper. So I'm going to use this colour on some of the larger areas, as you can see here. So I'll just show this one. So I'll go and I'll do the rest of this flower with that, and then probably the details over here as well. And then I'll keep it to one side in case I want to use it on any of the others. So I'll go and get that done and be back. So I've finished off with that colour, at least for now, and I've picked out a couple of oranges, which I've done a little scribble of there. So I'm going to go in and do kind of the centres of some of the flowers and then the details on those ones and that one down here as well. And I will be back again then. So I've been and added in with just my cheap acrylic markers. I can see they've not even got a name brand, no colours or anything, but they work really nicely and they're not super opaque. So there, where I've kind of used them to colour in the centres, you can still see the line work behind, which sometimes you wouldn't want that, but actually when I'm using it in areas like that, it's absolutely perfect, because then I haven't got to worry about it getting rid of the black lines when I don't want them to. So I think I'm calling this page pretty much done now. I've just had a little play to choose a grey to do the little background sections. So I figured that one's too dark, that looks a bit too bright. So I'm going to go for this one. Again, I'm just going to go for this one. I did debate getting one of my larger brush ones out, but actually there's a lot of really fiddly details that need colouring in, like here, and there's some little bits over this side as well. And there's not that many areas that are that big, so I think actually this one will work out quite well. So I'll start a little bit on camera with you, because I think all of these bits are dry now. So I'm just going to go in and literally just block colour any bit that looks like it's the floor, the background. I'm guessing she's lying on the floor, so I did debate colouring it in a green, but actually I think if I use kind of a nice neutral grey, it will just, I'm hoping, make everything kind of pop a little bit more on the page. And although there's lots of little bits, there's nothing that's too big. So yeah, I'm quite liking how that grey's looking. So I'll go away and colour the rest of these background bits and be back. So there we are, I'm calling it done. So I've used that grey cheap acrylic marker to do all the bits that's in the background, and I'm really pleased with how that's making everything pop off the page. And as you can see, I've been in with my white gel pen, in this case one of my Jelly Roll ones. I don't particularly have a favourite white gel pen, I've just got a pot of them with various ones in, and I just grab whatever's handy. So I've been through and added some little white gel pen highlights and just add a little bit more interest. I just realised I've missed that flower there. So literally, I'm not worrying about like where the light source is or anything like that, because I'm not aiming for it being realistic. Just added them in here and there just to make it look a little bit more interesting. So yeah, I'm calling that done. So I will go away once it's completely dry. I will put a sheet of wax paper here, shut the book to, put some nice heavy ones on top, and hopefully that will flatten it out. So hopefully you've enjoyed seeing me finishing this page off. Drop me a comment down below if you've enjoyed this style of video. I know it's not exactly like a full colour along, but hopefully if you were trying to follow along, hopefully it was maybe enough so that you could do something similar if you were wanting to. So just going to move it up so you can see all of it. So yeah, it'd be lovely to hear from you. Do you have this book? What's your favourite page? Was there anything that I shared in this video that was particularly useful? I will link down in the description the wax paper that I use in between my sheets, in between my pages, because that works really, really well in helping to protect the uncoloured pages from things transferring. I've got my Ko-fi store, which I have got some colour combinations on there as well, hoping to get some more added soon, hopefully. And obviously if you've not subscribed yet, please subscribe, because I'm trying to get to 1,000, getting closer and closer, so every little subscription does help. And obviously giving a like and a comment does help to push my videos out to more people as well. So take care everyone, and I'll catch you in the next one.